Hello everyone, welcome back to the next episode of this series, which I began last week. Today I want to walk with you into a very powerful part of my journey, the gift of trust. Trust is that quiet strength, the gentle force that can turn even the hardest challenges into new opportunities. Some call it Ekyamkar, some say Allah, some say Om, or some says Vaheguru. The names may be different, but the energy behind them is the same. And that energy, that trust, became the guiding light of my journey. It was this trust that carried me when everything around me felt uncertain. It was like a soft light in the darkness. It gave me the courage to take one more step and then another. Trust in oneness feels like a miracle. It doesn't just take fear away, it fills you with a strength you didn't know you had. As we continue walking this path together, I will share how this trust became my anchor and invite you to reflect on how it may already be guiding you in your own journey through every storm towards your own light. But before we go deeper into trust, let's gently return to where we left off last time. Because when we retrace our steps, it becomes easier to notice how trust was always there, quietly shaping my story, even when fear and doubt tried to take over. Last time we saw how a word by itself has no power. It only becomes powerful when we give our energy. So today, let's pause together for a moment. Look within your own life. What are the words you are still holding on to? And do they really deserve so much space in your heart? Often, without even realizing it, we keep spending our energy on things that don't truly matter. When we give too much of our energy to unnecessary thoughts, emotions, or actions, we end up with less strength for what truly matters. The truth is, not every thought has the power to stay alive, but the ones we keep feeding with our emotions by holding on to them longer than we need to, those are the ones that grow, remain, and shape our reality. That's exactly what happened in my journey. When I was first heard the word cancer, to me it felt no heavier than the word cough. But the moment emotions from my loved ones got attached, their fear, their worry, their sadness, that simple word suddenly became heavy, carrying so much more with it. Let's pause here. Think back. Have you ever faced a moment when just a single word or someone's reaction carried fear into your heart? How did it affect you? For me, that word carried the weight of doubt and fear. Doubt if I really had the strength to fight this battle, and fear, the fear of an unknown journey, the fear of losing my loved ones, the fear of leaving them unprepared without me. When my mind was clouded with these emotions, I turned to what had always supported me, That was meditation, yoga, and sitting in silence. There have been many times in my life when challenges made me stumble, but each time I found the strength to rise again. This time with more clarity, more learning, and a deeper understanding. For sure, those challenges took away many of the false foundations which I was unknowingly holding on to. But there was one thing that never wavered. That was my trust in Ekyamkar, in that oneness. In fact, with every challenge, that bond has only grown stronger. I began to see that when a challenge looks big, it often means it is digging deeper, clearing out hidden fears and old patterns, which the mind has been holding on to. And when the storm passes, what remains is always a cleaner, stronger, truer version of yourself, one step closer to you, who you really are. That is where trust comes in. Trust is like the love between a child and a parent. You don't need logic to explain it. You simply surrender, let go, and feel safe in that love. Trust teaches us to release fear, doubt, and the constant need to control everything. And when you fully surrender, something beautiful happens. Your heart begins to hear guidance more clearly. Your steps feel lighter, and life itself begins to show the way forward. Let's pause here. Where in your life are you still holding on tightly? What would it feel like if you let go, even just a little? During my treatment, silence became my companion, and in that stillness, I realized something very deep. This whole journey was never random. It was unfolding as if carefully planned for me all along. In those moments, all I could do was surrender. Because in my heart, I could feel the higher power had already created the best plan for me. And when you trust that plan, even the toughest journey starts to feel lighter. When I looked back, I realized that the higher power had already been preparing me for this chapter. Everything was arranged with such care. The doctors, the caretakers, the medicine, not a single detail was missed. Even the timing of when things were revealed felt perfectly aligned. Can you imagine that one day, while listening to a random guided meditation, the words began describing exactly what I was going through in my life, and how beautifully it was all unfolding for the best version of me. I was totally stunned and filled with tears to see how deeply I was being loved. This intelligence, the one that guides life, knows exactly what we need and when we need it. So now, I would like you to pause this recording and reflect on your own journey. Can you see how even in the toughest times, things were quietly being arranged for you? Maybe in the beginning it wasn't clear, but later, you may have noticed how life was gently organizing everything for you. For me, the day I sat in silence became a turning point. It gave me another chance to surrender and release the fear and doubt which I was holding on to. When I stepped out of my room, I was no longer filled with fear on that day. Instead, I was filled with gratitude and confidence. I knew deep inside that I was chosen for this challenge and that trust would carry me through. After that realization, I told my loved ones not to worry. For me, this became another chance, a chance to show acceptance, to embrace trust, and to return fully to love of oneness. From that day forward, the fear that once felt so heavy began to fade, and in its place, trust rose up, becoming the light that guided each step of my journey. But I also know that this trust didn't grow overnight. The roots of this trust were planted much earlier, during another difficult time in my life. And in that moment of deep confusion, when I felt lost and didn't know the way forward, I was blessed to meet my spiritual guide, Virji. With his light and wisdom, he helped me to see oneness more clearly and showed me a new way of looking at life's challenges. I didn't realize it then, but those lessons became the foundation of my life. And when cancer came into my journey, that very foundation gave me the courage to face it. It reminded me that no matter how big the storm looks, there is always a deeper strength inside us, a strength which we can trust. His guidance gave me a chance to shift my perspective completely. I began to understand the patterns of my mind and slowly learned how to rise above them. These lessons became my anchor, reminding me that even in storms, I could find clarity and strength. What I learned was simple, yet so powerful. When the world feels unsettled outside, the answer is to sit quietly within, look inward, and reflect on what life is trying to teach you. The key is to become your own observer. From this light, for this strength, I am deeply grateful to Virji. His presence gave me courage, and his wisdom continues to guide me even today, helping me to grow, learn, and walk forward with clarity. Let's pause here. Sit quietly for a moment and breathe. Feel in your heart that you are not walking alone. There is oneness within you which is guiding you. So, as we close today's part of the journey, I invite you to take a gentle breath with me. Trust is already within you. Sometimes it may feel hidden, covered by fear, doubt, or need to control, but it has never left you. Let's remember this truth together. We are never separate from oneness. This energy flows through all of us, guiding our steps and reminding us that we are never walking alone. We are safe, we are loved, we are always supported. And sometimes, all we really need to do is relax, breathe, and surrender. Maybe you also have walked through many storms, moments filled with fear, guilt, or doubt. And yet, here you are, still moving forward. I would love to hear your story, how you found light in your own darkest moments. I warmly invite you to share your thoughts and reflections. Anything from your life that connects with this part of my story. Because when we open up and grow together, we don't just heal ourselves, we give others the courage to heal too. So now, as we truly close this part of the journey, take a deep breath and remind yourself trust is already within you. Next week, I'll be sharing a special meditation on trust. Until then, give yourself permission to simply relax. Leave everything in the hands of the one who guides us all. Enjoy every breath. Let it fill you with peace and keep moving forward with love, courage, and light.